And a very good morning to you. This is Tony DeVale from Life Masters, and I will be taking you through a brief overview of the content of the profiles that you guys filled in. As you can see on my screen, I have a whole lot of colors and there's a ton of information, so I'm going to step you through each aspect of this process so that you can get an understanding of the kind of information that I was looking for to understand, and you can understand your environment. So let's dive right in. You filled in 3 questionnaires. One was team fitness, one was your heartbeat, and one was your castle. So I want to talk about the team fitness profile. As you can see above here, TFS 42, TFS 40, 39. Those are the numbers of the questions that you answered. So I've taken everybody's information that answered the profiles, probably about 36 people, right from Andre and Gerhard all the way down to everybody else that provided content. And as you can see, question number 1, this relates to relationships. Let's just move this around. So we have across the bottom the TFS question number 8. The highest score that somebody gave was a 5. So out of the entire group, somebody did give a 5. Out of the entire group, there were 2 was the minimum, and your average is 3.974. For clear decisions, somebody gave a 5, somebody gave a 1, and your average is 3.526. So for me, the big thing is the moment somebody has a 0 on a question, there's a concern and challenge. And the moment the average is down beneath into like where this is, we can express our anger openly, then for me, that is something that I would be concerned about. So if we have a look at it, let's just get back to our normal colors. So team fitness question 36. If you read it, if you have a look at your Excel spreadsheet, you can see the exact wording. But your average down there is low and the minimum is down at 0. So as in biology, 10% of a system impacts a system. So I would have a look at that and see what the situation is. We feel appreciated. Most people, not most, some are down at 1, some are up at 5, but your average is 3.62. But I'm going to show you a different variation of that, which is on one of the other questionnaires. Feel respected. Once again, you can see everybody across the board here. Somebody out of the group is given a 5, and some people out of the group have given 0s or lower, 1, 2s, and 3s. So if you just look across there, the things that maybe need to look at is open communications. There obviously is an issue around communications. There's some 0s, there's some 5s, but your average is 3.2, which means that you have some issues around communication and open feedback, supporting each other. We welcome different opinions on the far right here. We work in a trusting environment. So for me, out of this whole picture, trust was an issue that came out most dominantly, and communication. So when I look at that, you've got a great foundation with a few specific areas like expressing anger, trusting environment, welcome different opinions, supporting each other, open communications. And especially where you have some of these 0s, because those are very, very unhappy people. So you can see across the line here, you can pause it and see the question at the bottom and the description that it relates to for the question across the top here. And then you can just go and look at your profile and start to check. So let's have a look at normal width. This was your team fitness. I've sorted it from lowest to highest. So we have on the left hand side the lowest total score versus the highest total score, and this was for the motivation. So on your team, at the bottom of your assessment, there was a motivation and a drag part of it. So there are some people that have very high levels of drag down here, and or let's just say they have low levels of motivation, and here they have much higher levels of motivation. And we have then on the drag version, I did separate this through with staff, but they weren't all necessarily valid. So let's just take the staff filter out and sort that. And so this was the drag component. And so we can see some people have low levels of drag, a few people have low levels of drag. These were the questions that related to drag. So each one of these here relates to a person. And so there were some people that have got very high levels of static and drag. And for me, at least half of this group here, if we go to a 30 line here, at least half of these people are into the zone of high drag, high distraction, things that are affecting them, and that I would then have to look at it. And if you look at the questions, you get to see those things. We then look at, if I can just move my little button at the bottom here that I can see some of these things. Once again, we're still in the team fitness. I'm looking here to see for the low ones, like we can express our anger openly. So these are everybody's totals added together out of the group. And I'm starting to look at why are these ones lower. We can openly express anger as an issue, open communications, open feedback, welcome different opinions, trusting environment, team high trust. So some of these, they should be in the vicinity of a little higher than what they are right now. And once again, it's the same information as we had before, just on a stack like that. The team fitness low ones, that I'm looking for these to be lower, but these are quite high. So people are afraid to speak up, people avoid conflict, people hesitate to give their opinion. The same problems keep coming up. We lack honest communications. We have hidden agendas. When I feel emotionally drained from my meetings. We don't have open communication. So ideally these should be lower, and the fact that they are this high would be concerning for me, because it starts to reveal that there's a cultural issue and a challenge within the leadership dynamic in the workplace. So once again, you can see the team TFS, that's question number 5 under the team fitness. And these are the scores that were then put there. And this is once again everybody's scores. If we go to the team fitness, the low ones, it's just a bit more detail, but you can see, this afraid to speak up and avoid conflict is very high. The thing that would be concerning here is I've considered withdrawing team fitness 37. There are a large number of people that have scored anything between a 1 and a 5, but considered withdrawing. And I know from history that you guys have had some challenges, so that would have been an issue for me. Destructive competitiveness would be part of an issue. We don't have open communications. People hesitate. Same problems keep on coming back and around again. So these are the scores. This is like a pillar of every single person's scores. That's part of that system. So the team fitness, before we started on Friday, there were quite a few imbalances that I would have been concerned about. We can then go to the individual questions. So I'm able to go through team fitness question number 1. The maximum score was a 5, the lowest was a 0. And so for TFS1, this is the kind of results that you have. For team fitness 2, let's just see if we can get dimension in here that I can give you a bit more information about what it pertains to. So clear decisions, team fitness 2 was around the same problems keep arising. People are committed to doing good work. So if you have a look, I can't remember all of the exact questions. People are afraid to speak up. There's quite a few 5s, quite a few 4s, quite a few 3s there. So that would have been a concern. This is each vertical line is an individual that has responded. People hesitate to give their opinion. We have hidden agendas. So there are quite a few people that have these concerns. We have the authority. We need to deliver good results. The team's got all of its resources. There are some people here that don't feel they have all the resources, and that's always a challenge. My opinion counts. The moment we have disengagement, it's part of the challenge that you need to be looking at as a leader to see why are they withdrawing. Open and honest communications, that needs to be addressed. Obviously, it's not necessarily based on fact, but it is a perception. My goals are compatible with the company. Seems to be reasonable. We're good at problem solving. Nice score. So you've got a good foundation. I feel valued and appreciated. Wide balance. Not sort of at least half don't feel valued and appreciated. The most important thing is not discussed in the workplace, in our meetings. That's something that I would look at myself. For you guys, we work in a trusting environment, and once again, there are one or two people that say you work in a trusting environment, but this is a fundamental issue that you would need to address. We have good leadership. Some people think yes, some people, a few of them aren't too certain about that. Positive attitudes in the team. We welcome different opinions. Once again, very few right at the 5 and the 4. We destabilized by politics. That's always going to be an issue within the environment that we have, but you've got to find a way to get around that process. We avoid conflict, so that's part of the, people are too scared to share their anger or their frustration or their irritation or their loss. We have high trust. It only takes one pin to pop a balloon. And so these trust things are vital that you address them. We're open to feedback. We use our resources effectively. We have a destructive competitiveness. Obviously, there is a situation where some people feel that. We're good at planning and execution, reasonable. Our team is effective, and I think after Friday we'll see a much more effective team cohesion. We support each other, and that also is going to change. I feel emotionally drained from our meetings. That for me is a scary picture. It should be a whole lot less than that. We're blaming others for issues, also a little bit too high for my liking. I'm satisfied with my involvement. It shows reasonably high, and I think it's almost kind of a disengaged, don't care, withdraw situation. We share accountability for results. It says so, but I think that's an over assessment. We have clear performance standards, fairly strong level, with a few not being that clear on the process. We lack honest and open communications. That for me is concerning, and I'd need to look at that. You would need to look at that and see why, and start to rebuild that trust and communication. We can express our anger openly. That's obviously anger comes from loss and hopelessness, and would need to be addressed. I've considered withdrawing. This is one of the important ones. You've got a strong contingent of people that are really, really not happy. A 5, obviously, ideally 0 is best, but anything up at a 5 and a 4, those people are at risk. I feel appreciated. Some people do, quite a few people don't. Simple things like we did on Friday that can improve that. I'm committed to my team. It takes only one person to start to destroy that team dynamic and culture, so this is an important one to make sure you address. I feel respected. For me, once again, these are all ideally should be higher. There are quite a few people across the board here and lower down that don't feel that respect. We don't have open and honest communications. This one should be 0 ideally, but you have reasonably high static that needs to be addressed as you go forward. We have good relationships. So generally, I think from this profile, you get to get there's a good sense you have a great strong foundation, but there's work that needs to be addressed to enable your organization to optimize the results that you have and to become a high performance team. And so this is the end of the first profile. We'll share the next one with you.